What up, everybody? I'm Dave Miranda, and this is episode 59 of Just Give Me 5. Hope you guys are doing great. Continue to be amazing. We got a really awesome show lined up for you today. But I got to shout out my homegirl at The Funky Latina on IG. She has a really dope IG channel where she interviews a lot of Latin artists, you know, and musicians, and just provides a platform for them. And it's really, really awesome. It's something that's very much needed. And she let me rock one of her tees, you know what I'm saying, for the show. So I had to show some love. And keep doing your thing, my friend, because it's really, really dope. All right. But if you guys caught episode 58, you saw we had none other than my man Tino Cochino. And let me tell you, man, that guy is somebody that I'm really proud of, you know, because the 9 years that he's been out here, it's just awesome to see how he's progressed with radio. And it's like for him to have a number one show now with like 5.1 million listeners a week. I mean, he's doing it. He's doing it. And he's just a very good dude, man, very humble. I love when he was talking about his nana, you know what I mean? He was talking about how his nana, you know, played a big part in his upbringing, you know, and getting him inspired to be in radio, man. I thought that was really awesome. My mom liked that too. So keep doing your thing, my brother. And make sure you guys watch episode 58. All right. But today's guest is by far one of the dopest DJs, not just in Arizona, but in the world, period. Don't believe me? Okay. Just ask DJ Jazzy Jeff, who personally invited him to one of his playlist retreat gatherings that he has. We're gonna talk about his early days coming up. We're gonna talk about him being a Cardinals, Suns, and D-backs DJ. We're gonna talk about an upcoming documentary that he has, and much more. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you DJ Chris Villa.
What's up, y'all? My name is Chris Villa, DJ Chris Villa, and all I'm saying is, just give me 5. So, I wouldn't say that there was like one specific thing that made me want to be a DJ. I think it was just a lot of things that were around me at the time when I was a kid. My dad worked for the city of Phoenix for like 30 years. He's retired. So he had a hand in a lot of youth activities, car shows, rec center dances, you know, talent shows, b-boy battles. So he would always take us to work on the weekends, and we would be around all that stuff. So I think just seeing it, you know, I was just naturally, you know, attracted to it, if that makes sense. I just gravitated towards it naturally. But definitely like hearing the DJs on the radio on Power 92, which eventually turned into 98.3. They really had a stellar, you know, team of DJs. Like everybody had their own unique style. You know, within like seconds of hearing any of the DJs play, I already knew who I was on. So shout out Mikey Mike, Fashion, Robbie Rob, M2, Tiger. If I'm forgetting anybody, my bad, but you guys had a big influence on me. When I was a kid, I was fortunate enough to go to the Bad Boy World Tour date here in Phoenix. One of my good friends, his dad was super cool, and he was a baller, and he had like a suite, so he invited me and my brothers, and my mom and dad were cool enough to let us go. And we went, and Kid Capri was doing like the intermissions and kind of between acts, and just seeing him on stage like in this big dome, you know, in original Kid Capri fashion, just killing it, rocking the mic, and just being aggressive with it, like really like, you know, made me realize that DJing, you know, is more than just, you know, rec center dances and that kind of thing. So yeah. The one at America West Arena? Yeah. Yeah. Man, okay. It was right after, I think it was right after Biggie died. Yeah. Like Usher was opening, it was Busta Rhymes and like the whole Bad Boy squad. So yeah. I was super young though, but I do remember Kid Capri. My first gig as a DJ, I believe, was at Roosevelt Park in South Phoenix, Roosevelt Pool. And it was just a pool party. As I mentioned before, my dad, you know, he was always putting on events, you know, for the community. And it was like the perfect thing for me, like as a kid being a DJ, because, you know, like we can't really DJ clubs or anything of that nature. So having like, you know, him having all these events that needed a DJ, you know, he would plug me and my little brother. Shout out my brother Matt Villa, who's a DJ just like me. He's just as busy as I am, but we would do these parties together. So yeah, it was between that and between all the 40, 50-year-old birthday parties for all the crazy Theos and Theas out there, and that was cool. You learn as a kid that, you know, like, or as a DJ, you think like when you're a kid that you're only gonna be able to play, you know, what you and your friends want to hear. So that really like opened my mind up, like, no, it's about, you know, also you got to take care of whoever your audience is, which was a bunch of, you know, I don't want to say old people, but, you know, like when you're a kid, older people. So, you know, a lot of like cumbia, freestyle, funk, soul, which, you know, still like has a dear place in my heart today because I play that music on a regular basis. I have a Sunday Twitch show called Theos and Theas because it was inspired by like, you know, all the crazy Theos and Theas that I used to have to DJ for when I was younger. It feels great, I ain't gonna lie, but the ironic thing is that I'm not a big sports person at all. Like I grew up, you know, DJing, being totally sucked into that world and breakdancing and skating. I do love the Phoenix Suns, and I actually was the first ever arena DJ for the Phoenix Suns. They had a search for a DJ, and you had people, all the DJs from Arizona and the surrounding states that came out and auditioned. And I was lucky enough to win the position. And yeah, I mean, from then on, I did 1 season with them, and then I went on to do 5 seasons with the D-backs, and then I just did my first season with the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, it's cool, because like as a kid, my dad would take us to Phoenix Suns games, and sometimes we would sit, you know, behind the guy running all the sounds, and, you know, I would just kind of observe, and I didn't really ever think that I would be doing something similar or be side by side with the people that are running the show like that. So shout out the Suns, shout out the Cardinals, the D-backs. Even though I don't know a ton about what's going on, I'm still giving my all and making sure that the music is on point and the scratches and the performance and routines are cool. 3 memorable moments of my career would have to be when I was a kid. I was 13 years old, and my parents, they used to take me to the Guitar Center to practice because I didn't have the best gear at home. And how they would do it is you would have to give your driver's license, and then they would give you a pair of needles. So I would just bring a stack of records and go in there and practice on the best equipment that they had set up. So one day I was practicing, doing my thing, and I kind of noticed somebody watching me in the cut. Didn't really like think too much of it. And then when I was done packing up, the guy came up to me, and as soon as he started talking, I instantly knew who he was because I was a big radio fan, especially of Power 92. And he happened to be Davey D from Davey D in the morning show. At that time, it was a morning show host. And he was just like, hey, little man, like, here's my card. You know, give it to your parents and have them call me. I want you to come DJ on my radio show. And I was like super happy. You know, I ran and gave the card to my parents, and luckily they were cool enough. They called them, they set it up. They were cool enough to excuse me from school that morning. You know, we drove down, me and my dad and my little brother, and they did a little interview, and I did like a 30-minute set on live radio. So that was very important for me. Probably 13, yeah, I was in the 7th grade. That was probably the most important moment for me, just because when you're a kid and, you know, you dream to be on the radio, but you kind of think like, that's something that I'm gonna do when I'm, you know, a grown up. So to already like be exposed to that environment and being able to do it and have that chance at a young age, it really like lit a fuse under me and made me realize that like, this is something that I want to do, and this is something that I can do. So that's like the #1 most important moment of my DJ career. Second would have to be doing the Red Bull 3 style. So for all the DJ fans out there, you might already know that the DMC is like the #1 DJ battle for a long time. But it was really like about technical DJing and, you know, beat juggling and scratching and dissing and all that. So when the Red Bull 3 style came along, it was about that too, but also party rocking, which I always like wanted to be one of those guys who could hang with the turntablists and cut it up with the best of them and also rock a party with the best of them. So it was like, you know, perfect for me. So long story short, it's an international DJ battle. They pick 6 finalists from each country. And yeah, I was picked two years in a row. And, you know, unfortunately I didn't win, but, you know, the experience is worth, you know, a ton to me. And just to know that you can compete on that level, especially in the U.S., because the U.S. always has such a crazy, you know, pool of talent. And thirdly, was getting invited to DJ Jazzy Jeff's playlist retreat.
Say what?
Yeah, so for those that don't know, the retreat is put on by none other than DJ Jazzy Jeff, and he's a legend in the game. He's the GOAT of GOATs, and he's still doing it, you know, pre-COVID, you know, just crushing it throughout the year, doing live shows all across the world. But he put together this retreat to really just bring artists together, not just DJs, but people in music together to build with each other, to collaborate on music, to share ideas. And then he has, you know, a bunch of, you know, legends come through and either hang out with us or, you know, coach our teams or come and speak to us. And that really meant a lot to me, because being a Mexican kid from Arizona, you know, it's like you would never think, you know, because I grew up, you know, watching Beat Street, you know, watching Crush Groove, like me and my brothers, like we knew like all the video stores that had those tapes, and there was only like a short, you know, a small amount of Blockbusters in town that had those, and we would rent them. We should have just bought them, but you know, my dad might have was being cheap or whatever. But
In like special sections.
yeah.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kidding, Dad. But you really should have bought those tapes. But you know, seeing like all those guys like, you know, on the TV and then going to this retreat, like, I know this sounds morbid, but it's kind of like dying, because you know when you die and they say you go to heaven, they're like, oh yeah, there's Tupac and there's Jimi Hendrix and Bob Marley, and you know, I was just chilling with them and you know, doing whatever. Like literally when you walk in, first of all, like when I got picked up, like I shared like a ride to his house with like Z-Trip and DJ Craze. And then when I walk in, it's like there's DJ Premier and Pete Rock and Questlove and Biz Markie and just everybody chopping it up, and there's really no egos. Everybody leaves that at the door, and it's just a good week of just love and music. And yeah, so to be invited to that personally, like really like meant a lot to me. Just cause like, in no way am I saying that I want to quit DJing, but for a kid who grew up like, you know, really admiring hip hop and the pioneers, and being able to be invited to something like that where there's people that are just as into music as you, and you don't feel like a music freak. You're like you're amongst peers and people who are just as passionate about it. Like that was really cool. Yeah, so at this retreat, like I said, amongst the legends, and Kid Capri was there. One of my first really inspiring moments as a DJ that really made me want to do this. He was there, and it was nothing crazy. I mean, he's a pretty intimidating guy, but you know, he was showing love. Like I was there just cutting it up, and he's just standing there watching and just shaking his head in approval. So, you know, like, yeah, things come full circle. It feels great. I mean, we all want to be loved and appreciated. I'm a real genuine guy, so I don't do anything unless it's for the love. So I put my heart into it, and I do it because I want to do it. So when people rock with it, like, that means the world, because it's coming from a genuine place for me. So, you know, to have them notice that means a lot. But yeah, I wouldn't be here without my family. Like, you know, my kids, my wife. Me and my wife, we met in high school when I was 15 years old. So yeah, like a lot of people, they have these ideas about DJs and we're douchebags and this and that. But no, like she's seen me the whole way through and has supported me, you know, through all my accomplishments, and yeah. Shout out all my family, my 2 kids, Catherine, Isai, my wife Tara, my brother DJ Matt Villa. Check for him. Like, I wish he would kind of put himself out there more, because he's better than me at DJing. And we got the DJ Chris Villa doc coming soon. It's already complete. Shout out iRock. Shout out Jeremy Lopez. And that's a project that, you know, goes back from my beginnings and kind of goes up, you know, until now. So you're able to see, you know, like a lot of home stuff, a lot of behind the scenes stuff, and get a better look at me, I guess. But yeah, shout out everybody that rocks with me, supports me, that's ever gone to any of my gigs, that's ever tuned into any of my mixes, commented or whatever. Like, I see it all, I appreciate it all. It keeps me going, so thank you.
And there you have it. Man, nothing but love and respect to my man Chris Villa, you know what I'm saying? This was dope, because Chris is just absolutely killing it, and I am really looking forward to his upcoming documentary, so make sure you guys are following him on social media so you can keep up with it as well. His Twitch channel is really dope too, man. Theos and Theas, I love it, I love it. Shout out to my brother Jimmy Nelson on the camera. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, tell a friend to tell a friend. All right. And if you like what you've been seeing and you feel like donating to the cause, go ahead and hit the Cash App there. Whatever you have, greatly appreciated. All right, man. And once again, I'm rocking another one of these two-tone brims from my homegirl Brenda at House of Smalls. I'm telling you, she has like all the dopest brims ever. That is the only place that I get them from here on out. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, because this was another one for the books. And until next time, stay tuned, stay blessed, stay healthy. Crying out loud, stay healthy. Just give me 5, y'all.